Shalom, I'm Naama Rue. This is my husband, Rabbi David Rue. And this video, we are continuing to talk about how do you select the 4 species when you are preparing for the observance of the amazing holiday of Sukkot, where we dwell outside. And there are so many amazing practices that we do in this festival.
So talking about the Hadasim, it says Aravos, meaning that it's like a woven wood. And the rabbis understand from this that the leaves of the Hadasim should cover the stem.
The hadas is what plant
A
in
myrtle.
English? Myrtle.
So I have here a hadas, which you may be able to see. And they're supposed to come out in triplets. Now, I have Hadasim growing in my yard. This being Eretz Israel, they grow in the United States as well, and many other places in the world. But the Hadasim that I have growing in my yard are pasul.
They are not kosher because
if you look here, there are 2 leaves growing out together and one just above it. They have to come out all in one circle around the same thing. I can't show you a kosher one because I don't have any, and I spend some time looking at my Hadasim, and there are none that are kosher. I really want to rip them all out and get some kosher ones and plant them in their place, B'ezras Hashem, next year after Shemitah is over.
But we still do use these as to smell for after Havdalah, for the Havdalah practice.
Yes, the Shulchan Aruch brings, he was the first to say it, that after we've done one mitzvah with the Hadas, we should use it for another mitzvah of Havdalah. So the first and most important thing about the Hadas is that it has to be meshulash. They have to, at least for the majority of the 3 tefachim minimum length of the Hadas, it should be coming out in triplets and not in 2s and 1s. And to be mahudar, to be beautiful, it should be the entire length of the Hadas should be come out meshulash. Nowadays, when I was younger, the Hadasim used to come in separate. We used to have to check them, each one. Now they come in a bag, pre-checked, and they tell you whether it's the majority of the shear or the entire shear, the majority of the measure you need, or all 3 tefachim, whether it's Rav Chaim Noah, whether it's the Chazon Ish, and so on. So not so as much goes, although in some of them you can look inside and see whether leaves have fallen off and so on. But ideally, to be beautiful, it should be meshulash for the entire length.
Meshulash meaning?
Triplets, coming out in triplets.
Right.
And they should be fresh, green, not drying out, and so on.
At least in the beginning of the week.
No, they should stay that way the entire way. And there are various ways of keeping them that will keep them green. Hadasim don't go bad if you wrap them, for instance, in a slightly damp paper towel. They stay nice and fresh for all of Chag. If you keep them in an airtight thing between one morning and the next, they also stay well, and so on. The leaves should not be too large or too small, right? If they're larger than a thumbnail in total size, or maybe the top third of the thumb, something like that, that would be too large. If they're smaller than the grain of barley, that would be too small. The leaves should be close to the branch. They shouldn't be hanging away from the branch. The leaves should be covering the branch, not anything else. The top of the branch has to be whole, not broken off. And the leaves, ideally, should be whole and not broken, not eaten away in any way. There are berries that grow in the Hadas. Originally they're green, and this isn't a problem. If they become red or black, they can be removed. Even there are some places can allow you to do this on Yantif. Ideally it should be done before Yantif. Generally, in the ones that come pre-prepared, I've never seen any of them have these on it. So it's not a real issue in selecting your Hadasim. The Hadasim can be longer than 3 tefachim, but they can't be shorter than 3 tefachim.
Tefachim?
Handbreadths. So, that's Hadasim. Aravos are different. Arvei Nachal, which are willows of the streams. Some poskim say it's better to have an arava a willow that actually grew by a stream. Most don't care. But the leaves should be long, as you can see here, a long leaf. It should be completely smooth, not saw-like on the edge. And ideally, the stem should be red. And I just knocked the red stem went off the floor. Early in the season, they're not. I just picked this one
So it's green.
outside. It's green, not completely green. If they look at that side is completely green. This side is beginning to change color. Here is an older one, more than a year old.
It's dried out.
And it's not dried out. That's not the issue. But the sun striking it makes the stem of a proper arava reddish in color and to a deep red, depending upon exactly how much sun it's had and how much and how long it's been there, and so on.
So you want a fresh green stem with leaves.
No, you want a red stem. It is the hidur of an arava to have a red stem, not a green stem, but it should be fresh, not dried out.
Okay.
The tip of the arava, along with the last leaves, should be whole and not broken off. So if you look here, the way it grows, the very tip almost always has a leaf on it. Not always, but almost always has a leaf on it. That leaf and the tip should have to be complete and whole and not broken away.
So this one's not kosher because it's green, the stem.
No. The stem doesn't have to be red.
Okay.
It's maybe hidur. It makes it more beautiful when it's red.
Thank you for explaining that.
All right. So long, lush edges. The top of the twig should be intact. The leaves should be fresh without any dryness or wrinkles. Leaves should cover at least 3 tefachim of your arava, which is the measure that the arava has to be. And some people say, if possible, get an arava that grew near a river. This is not possible for most people, and it's only a minority opinion to begin with. These are the things that you should look for, and it's easier to look for this in the arava than not. Now, if you try putting an arava, wrapping it in a slightly damp paper towel, it will turn brown overnight. However, you can wrap the bottom of the stem, once you've taken it out, in a damp paper towel. Hold it on with a rubber band and it will stay fresh. So if you take it out after you've used it, or I've actually never had a problem keeping mine fresh in that I have a essentially hermetic sealed lulav carrier bag, and I put them away as soon as davening is over until the next day, and everything stays fresh in there because there's enough moisture in there that they don't dry out.
It's plastic.
Other people say this method doesn't work for them. You should see what method works for you, where you are, and so on. Some people have to remove them. As I said, the Hadasim can be wrapped in a slightly damp paper towel, and that can be put in aluminum foil, and actually you can store them in the refrigerator and they stay even fresher. From the time you buy them until the first day of Sukkot, I definitely recommend putting the Aravos and the Hadasim in a refrigerator, and they stay very fresh and nice until you're ready to use them. Everyone should have a beautiful Arba Minim for their Yantif, and in the next video we will talk about selecting an esrog.